Hey man, I was freaking going on and the camera was cut off and shit. I hate when that happens. And pardon me if I'm going in, but you guys don't understand. The most clients that I have Venus in the 12th. It's truly an energetic thing. So, and this is a very misunderstood house. So I had the clarity on it, so I have to provide it to the people. But what I was saying was, do not get married until after your Saturn return, because you actually do not know what it is that you want. And what happens after your Saturn return is the karmic cycle that you were born into clears. Okay? So it is very essential to just take your time to, and the next thing about this Venus is that it goes through these periods of being involved, and then the energy exchange in the relationships is so strong that once that relationship is over, the person feels the need to get back to themselves, okay, and to love up themselves again, which is a theme of this house, okay? It's not about personal love. It's about self-love and projecting that self-love out into the world, okay? And the next way you do this is through your creativity. So just to finish on the relationship side of Venus in the 12th, I would say, if you have participated in an affair where someone belonged to someone else, right? Or you express your needs to this person of what you want and they did not honor it, do not fall for this again. This is how you stop the cycle and liberate yourself. Always remember, in a way, you're actually always better off within yourself, because the love that you seek to provide, the love that you seek to obtain is already within. Okay? Next thing is, nobody's perfect. Learn to meet others where they are. Within the idealism that you've acquired needs to be dissolved. So you're going to keep finding that nobody fits this perfect ideal, okay? So eventually you're going to have to sacrifice certain things that you wanted in a partner for the actual soul connection that you crave, okay? So let's get into some other aspects of Venus in the 12th. So creatively, Venus is obviously creativity, and the nature of the 12th house is secret, it's behind closed doors, it's you and yourself. You are the most creative when you are alone. And in terms of creativity, the floodgates of creativity opens to you, and it's at your disposal. And this is one of the ways you liberate yourself. But the problem here with this Venus is spreading that creativity to the world. This is where the self-undoing comes in. Because of all the factors of not really noticing, how beautiful you are, or these certain qualities about yourself, you don't feel confident in giving them away to the world. However, if there is like a first house and a 10th house influence, this makes this a whole lot easier. Or if it's an influence, wherever that sun is going to really help you shine. So that's wherever Libra and Taurus is in your chart as well, but more specifically look to your sun, because that's where the creativity is going to shine through, okay? So it's really, really important to inject this creativity, because if you don't, because it's energy, and I want you guys to understand, with being a healer, that you're a channel, you're wide open, okay? And when you don't express this creativity, you start supplementing it in other ways, which ultimately leads to addiction. So one of the things that I need this Venus in the 12th to do is be honest. Be honest about your love for pleasure and sex. This is one of the major things. The displacement wants you to know that it's okay to display this. You don't want to overly display it, but you don't want to have guilt within yourself for these things that bring you pleasure. And it would be a lot easier to accept that pleasure by, openly expressing it. So the more you grow spiritually, the more you realize that sexuality is really linked to it. It's a part of our natural nature. A lot of Venus in the 12th people, if these are people who live alone or whatever, they love walking around naked or just in their essence. They love being with their partner in that essence, very hands-on and things of that nature. You want to own that, okay? Now, with that, just like I said in the 8th house video, we want to find a healthy outlet for our sexual appetite, and our need to express the romance, the sexuality, the imagination, okay? So, one obvious way, like I remember when I was first reading 50 Shades of Grey, I was just like, yo, this is so fucking 12th house, like this is ideal. So you're taking your imagination, you're taking that fantasy life that you have, and you're putting it into a creative medium, right? So acting, as well as anything. The 12th house are connected to feet, so dancing, right, can be very much so a release for you, these different things. Or, that love for beauty and other things, you can be like a photographer, right? Or a lot of guys that I've worked with this 12th house, and this is what I'm trying to show you, if you don't handle the energy well, it'll turn on you and you'll start doing some crazy shit. Strip clubs and prostitution. Men with this position, ultimately, this is something that they are drawn to, but it isn't good because you pick up energy. Sex is an energy exchange. There are spirits hanging around in places. And by putting yourself in this environment as a consumer, right, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. You're creating this dependence upon this thing, okay? So in the flip side for a female, that can work in a different way. If you understand, she can, secretly want to do sexual activities. But like I said, the key is to raise it up and put yourself in a necessary environment. Now, as far as I'm not here to judge anybody in the terms of strip clubs and, prostitution. These things been around for whatever. I'm just letting you know about the energy exchange and what's really occurring on, subtle levels. So, say you were to want to run a brothel or work at a strip club. I deem this as a healthy outlet for that 12th house energy, okay? Rather than going there, spending your money, forming sexual relationships with women who you have no soul connection with. You see, this is the illusion here, all right? So it's very, very important for you to be mindful of how to raise up and use your energy. The next thing I want to say about this position, I don't want to keep going on and on, all right? But there are ways to liberate yourself, and ultimately, like I said, you're going to have to sacrifice your ideal. It's not going in the partner, in the way in which the relationship will go. The more you ground yourself, so whatever sign is on the 12th, there are certain aspects of that energy that you have to sacrifice. You have to not play to that energy. So if it's, Gemini and you really want variety, you need to force yourself to you need to force yourself to find someone who will accept that in you, rather than creating a scenario where you keep having to do secret things, to keep up that part of you. If it's Sagittarius, you know what I'm saying? And this brings me to the next part with Venus in the 12th. There's two types of Venus in the 12th. Someone who wants buys into their tradition, right? And they want someone who very much so is the same race as them and same ideology as them. And then there's a person who wants the opposite of that. So within that, say, you got Sag there or something, what you'll find is you may find that ideal person, right? But say they're a Muslim. Say they're a Muslim, or say they follow some type of religion, and you're more spiritual than religious. You'd have to sacrifice a certain part of yourself to have that person. So it's a very, very key wisdom of learning how to make the energy work. But overall, to all my Venuses in the 12th, you have to adopt a more subtle approach towards what you want. Focus on loving everyone as a whole rather than trying to get personal love. And ultimately, this is what liberates you. So, this is my interpretation of Venus in the 12th. I hope you enjoyed this whole series. It was a pleasure for me. I got many requests on other series that I should do. And just so y'all know, I'm an actual spiritual guy. There are people out here who do what I do, but they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. I actually do both, okay? So my process of how I actually channel this information, I take my time. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, I don't know what to do and when to do it. So I'll be back, and we'll keep it going because, you know, this is a beautiful thing, and I appreciate y'all. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, feel free to do so. If you need a reading, holla at me. Till next time, peace.